Tries Most High, I need you. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and make another video. I'm not going to say how long this is going to be because I didn't intend for my other video to be over 25 minutes yesterday. So, however long this is going to be, it's going to be. As always, I'd like to thank my subscribers for subscribing to my channel. If you're new to my channel, do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Alright. So, I've been reading more articles, just trying to get, more current data on this looming, as they keep saying, looming food shortage, or this looming famine that's impending. And I was just going over the numbers. So they have, and this is the current number as of April of this year. So they have 95 million cows. They have 77 million pigs and 9 billion chickens. Okay. So using those numbers, the chickens are at 9 billion. Okay, that's a lot. It sounds like a lot, but think about it. 9 billion sounds like a lot, but you got to think about the demand. You have a whole nation, just in North America alone, at 1.8 billion. Using their numbers. Again, their numbers lie. But using their current projection of what the population is just in North America, that's not including the islands, that's not including South America. Okay? Just the United States. The corporation. So, at 1.8 billion, just in the United States, well, chicken is also exported out of the United States. So, you have 1.8 billion in your country from 9 billion. Okay. So, you're exporting chicken to other countries. Okay. So you've got France, you've got Germany, you've got Switzerland, you've got all of Europe, you've got all of so-called Africa, which again we already know is this one landmass, okay? You got all of so-called Asia, okay? So you've got all of these external demand that you've got to meet, but you've only got 9 billion chickens. That's not enough. Let's face it, it's not. Okay? Because the amount of grocery stores that you have just in the North American part of the Americas alone, then the restaurants, the fast food chains, you got all of this. That 9 billion is not that much. When you start subtracting from 1.8 billion in North America and all of the islands and South America, its islands, all of so-called Asia, all of so-called Africa, and all of so-called Europe and Australia, 9 billion chickens isn't enough. Okay? So there you go. That kills that number very, very quickly. Okay? Now, they've got 77 million pigs. Well, they are still going through the African swine pandemic that has devastated their pigs. See, there is a real pestilence going on, but it's on the livestock, not the people. Okay? So, Africa, so-called Africa, and that includes Asia and Europe, because let's face it, same landmass. So the whole continent over there is facing their whole pork industry is literally in a whole panic from what I was reading. Because of the African swine pandemic that's on their pigs. So, but America alone only has 77 million pigs. Well, again, you have 1.8 billion people. 77 million pigs is not going to feed 1.8 billion people. Okay, that's not going to happen. That's a very obvious 77 million to 1.8 billion. There you go. You disperse that amongst all of your grocery stores, all of your restaurants, fast food chains, and then you dispersing this out, exporting it to other countries. 77 million pigs is not enough. They don't have any more pigs really coming in because of their pandemic of an actual pestilence that's on their pigs over there. Okay? Where those pigs are indigenous to. Okay. And now back to the cows. They have 95 million cows. Now, again, 95 million to 1.8 billion. And that's just North America, United States, the corporation. 95 million cows is not enough. From the article I was reading, they're killing the heifers, they're slaughtering dairy cows, the bulls, the calves, the female cows. If you're killing your female cows, how can they raise calves? You can't, because the demand outnumbers the supply. But you got 95 million cows as of what I was reading, again, as of 2020. From the latest that I could get. So, actually, I'll take that back. That was it was the end of 2019. But they were worried about what was 2020 going to look. This was November of 2019. I'm sorry, I just looked at that. That was November 2019 was those numbers. But they've been hit with everything. So they were already worried about what 2020 was going to bring. Well, we already know what 2020 brought. But still, that was only a few months ago. Okay, November, this is April. Going into May. It's not even, it's still not. You're barely 6 months, just over 6 months ago. Barely over 6 months ago. So those numbers are still relevant into 2020. Okay, 95 million cows, 77 million pigs, 9 billion chickens. Okay, that's just apparent. So those numbers are still relevant. Like I said, 6 months ago, that number's not really going to change that much, especially from the end of November of 2019. That's not going to change very much, because they weren't even 2.5 months into 2020 before this this whole cycle of events hit. So those numbers are very relevant and possibly smaller than what they were when they were posted November of 2019. Okay, due to cold snaps, and there's been a lot, these farmlands are in the colder parts, in the northern parts, which we know the north is at the bottom, so that's cold. You got Wyoming, you got Montana, you got the Dakotas, etc. So you've got all of these cold lands that have had these weather snaps, from flooding, which has killed their crops, to weather snaps that have just been too hot, which again kills your crops. And then too cold has been killing their cattle. Okay? And let's face it, I live in Tennessee. We had a cold snap a few times just since 2020 started. And they have frozen. Okay? Like, literally frozen. That's just in Tennessee. So, if it gets cold in Tennessee, I'm originally from Michigan. So, how cold it gets here is nothing compared to how cold it gets in Michigan. Okay? It's 10 times colder in the northern states than it is the so-called southern states. I know this because I was born and raised in Michigan. So when we get a cold snap here, yeah, it's pretty cold. But you get a cold snap where it's already prone to being cold anyway, that's 10 times worse, if not 100 times worse. So it's killing their livestock because of the cold snaps. So like I said, those numbers are actually smaller from November 2019 into 2020. Because just since January, like December through January and parts of February, there were multiple cold snaps that hit. And they were below freezing temperatures here in Tennessee. So obviously, so-called northern states, that includes Wyoming. If it gets cold, there is already prone to being cold. It's going to be 100 times worse, 10 times, 100 times colder. So it's killing their livestock. So if it's killing your cows, this is where your logic has to come into play. If these cold snaps are killing your cows, and cows are bigger, they're thicker, they're heftier, okay? They're stronger. These cold snaps are killing them. What do you think it's going to do to the chickens? It's going to kill them faster and quicker than it will a cow. So that number of 9 billion is shorter, okay? Now, so that is the food part. The economic part is the money. As I have mentioned, it's the money. These congressmen, these senators, these CEOs, all of them took all of their money out of their stock market days before it crashed, okay? We already know they got heads up about that. You take some of it out if you know it's going to come back up. That's what you do. You take some of it out, okay? And leave some in it because you know it's going to come back. And you'll make whatever you lost back in whatever amount of time it takes to make it back. But you take all of it out, that's usually indicative to, oh, you might want to take all of it out because it's not going to come back up. And then that means you will lose it indefinitely. And then it crashes, as it did. CEOs, within a week of this so-called crisis, CEOs started leaving their positions, stepping down from their millions of dollars a year positions. Stepping down. You only step down if your ship is sinking. No one wants to stay on a sinking ship because what happens? It will take you down with it. So you jump ship so that you don't sink with it. That's just common sense and logic. Okay? Companies have been closing left and right. Laying people off left and right. It makes no sense with some restaurants because, again, you can call and pick up orders. Okay? You can limit how many people are in there. Why you're not doing that? Because you can't afford to. So you use this pandemic or planned-demic, what is kind of being done, because let's face it, was planned. This was planned at least a year, 2 years before they put it into effect. Okay? That's just looking at all of their actions, just pretty much says this was already planned. Okay? But it's the best smoke screen you can give. Now to get to their food plants, their meat plants to be specific. What is the best way, if you know your supply of livestock, of pork, poultry, beef, and fish, okay? All of your livestock, but they mainly deal with the livestock of beef, pork, and poultry, okay? What is the best way you can come up with to close down without raising suspicion to why? Well, most people, and this is the articles I've read today, majority of these meat plants, specifically the meat plants, people are in direct contact with meat. So the best way, if I were to come up with something like this, the best way to close down meat places, because your supply is way lower than you can actually pump out to support the demand you've got coming in. You don't got enough supply to meet the demand. The best way to do is to come up with a highly infectious contagion. So people in meat plants, you give them the flu-like symptoms, hence 5G. You give them the flu-like symptoms, so they're believing that they've got this supposed COVID-19 coronavirus. You give them these flu-like symptoms, okay? So they're in direct contact with this meat. That raises the potential of contamination to the meat. That is the best smoke screen you can come up with to close down your meat packing plants. That's the best way to do it, because they're in direct contact with it. So if they believe that they're sick, you've got this pandemic that you've created, well, it fits. Close them down. Now, all of a sudden, again, I was just trying, scrolling, just trying to find the meat to it. Like I said, they don't tell the truth, so you got to search for it. They tell the truth, but you got to find it. It's like a needle in a haystack, literally. So, now, the orange buffoon has come up with apparently an executive order to protect and force these meat plants to stay open. But the spokesperson for Tyson specifically has yet to say anything. And this was just a few hours ago when I saw this come across my feed on Google. Now, you know, these spokespersons for these companies know that their companies don't have a supply to be able to stay open. Okay? They know this. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Okay? But you have to realize, why are they all of a sudden getting in front of it? Why are you getting in front of it, federal government? Why? Why all of a sudden? When at first you weren't really saying much about it. It wasn't really getting much attention from you. Now, all of a sudden, you getting in front of it. Now, we all should know how this charade of a corporation masquerading itself as a government works. It gets in front of things to cover something up. You get in front of it to minimize the attention on it. So what's the best way to do it? An executive order. Oh, it's fine now. They're going to stay open. There's no worry there. Executive order is going to force them to stay open. They won't close. So don't worry anymore. Okay? There you go. That's basically what he said without saying it. Hence, executive order to force them to stay open. Okay? Basically, it's fine. You know, there's no worries here. And then they come out with more distractions to distract you away from there. This is fine. Okay, look elsewhere now. You're good. This is fine. Another distraction. Trump say something stupid or tweet something dumb. Come up with some kind of something. They come up with some kind of distraction. Okay, same script, different cast. They always do it. So they distract the people away. They don't worry about it. It's like, oh, okay, it's good now. They were protecting it. You know, it's a vital part of the infrastructure of the country. Words he used. Okay. That's kind of a redundant. It's you know, a vital part of your infrastructure, but you didn't have to put that in there. But sure, go, okay, whatever. So now you see they're getting in front of it. That's minimizing it. You don't want attention on it because then people are already panicking. It's already been whispers and rumors about your food shortage. So you don't want too much more attention on it because people are already going to lose their mind. Another article I read, in so-called Africa and the whole continent's being ravished by this. Locusts plague, and they use plague of locusts. That's exactly what they use. Plague of locusts. They got new swarms coming in every day. Okay, so they got locusts, they got pestilence there, but it's affecting their livestock, which is their pigs. So they got pestilence, they got locusts, they've been hit by droughts, they've been hit by flooding. Hello. Everything is happening over there. Where did these heathens come from? Who is the real royals? What landmass do they come from? Of course they gonna get hit by the plagues. That's where it came from. But where are all of the resources though? Here. It always comes back to the land. The land is not yielding to them anymore. And when it does yield something, it is quickly, swiftly destroyed by either flooding, a spike in temperature, or a drop, a drastic dip in temperature. All of those combined, either all of them or individually, they can destroy a crop instantly. So there goes their agriculture in the toilet. Okay, you can't, if you don't have enough of your agriculture, you can't make any profit. You can't sell it to other countries by exportation, or in using it in the terms of exploitation. Okay, you can't exploit our land anymore. The Creator has put a stop to your exploitation of His land. You can't do it anymore. So the earth is not yielding. These lands are not yielding to their asses anymore. Agriculture's gone. Their livestock has been drastically depleted. Okay? What always follows pestilence? Famine. Global. It's been a so-called global pestilence, right? Well, so it's already a global famine. Most of these countries rely on what country or what landmass to export them goods. This one. So without agriculture, without livestock, you can't export and exploit the land or the Creator's animals anymore. Because He will stop it. He has stopped the earth from yielding to you. He will kill these animals just so the point is proven. You aren't exploiting anything that is indigenous to these lands anymore. Your punishment is here. There is no escaping it. Your pestilence is on your livestock. Your plagues are your flooding, your freezing, which is killing your livestock over here. Your money is gone. Your banks will be closing at some point. I mean, they're the first to open, the last to close, okay? They're what you call essential. There you go. First to open, last to close. That's kind of been a running gambit. Hello. So once your financial fully crumbles, there you go. Okay? Your economy is done. Your currency system that has been masqueraded with different names and different logos, but, you know, like I said, it's that two sides of the same damn coin. Two heads of the same damn snake. In this case, literally. Okay? So all you got to do is look at that. They are scrambling. Just look at how random their topics have become here just in the last week. I'm not even going to bother going back 2 weeks. Look at the last week. Look how they have bounced from topic to topic. Oh, presidential election. Oh, food shortage. Oh, financial. Oh, economy. Oh, COVID-19, coronavirus, deaths, vaccine. They're all over the place. Like, I swear they can't hold it together. It's funny as hell. It's like, damn. It's like that now? Damn. You can't even keep a topic going for more than a day now. Every day it's a new thing going on now. But hell, they can't even keep things going for an hour. Every hour is something new. Whether it's drama or something, they are bouncing. They're scrambling. That is the signs of scrambling. So the fact that they're scrambling all over the place, they everywhere. They like a leaf. The wind blow, they over here. The wind blow, they over there. They can't keep it together. They losing their mind, quite literally. And you can clearly see how they are slowly disseminating mentally. They are just breaking down. Their system is officially malfunctioning. It's crumbling. It's shutting down. Their kingdom is being destroyed systematically, piece by piece. Okay? It's being dismantled by the Creator. Okay? So, they came up with this whole thing for small businesses. And then all of a sudden, of course, here comes the blame game. The orange buffoon is blaming Pelosi, whatever her damn name is, the so-called Democrat. Okay, whatever. Okay, so here's the blame game. Oh, they mismanaged these funds and now they don't have funds. This was about a week ago. And one of my coworkers mentioned that. I'm just like, oh, that's of course, now they're doing the blame game. They didn't have no real money to begin with. Okay, so of course, they got mismanaged and now they're out. Okay, sure. Let's go with that. But, so they are all over the place. There's nothing consistent with them anymore. They can't be consistent. They don't know what's every day there's something new that's hitting them and they don't know how to react. Of course, they're not going to tell you what's really going on. Historically, they've never told you the truth. They've told you everything in reverse. So if they tell you everything is going to be fine, everything's going to get back to normal, what is the reverse of that? Things are not going to get back to normal, and things are going to get worse. They're getting worse. If they could ask for worse, you can't get worse. You're already there. But just look at it. It's funny. I'm loving how they are destabilizing, which shows you further proof that they are done. I also saw, come across my YouTube, as far as a suggestion. And it's this ridiculous thing called Daily Dose. Well, he was showing dancing lights in the sky. You have to be either blind or just plain stupid not to see that ain't no lights. He comes up with something, it's what happens when light is displaced from the sun. Really? And y'all can look this up yourself. It's Daily Doses, their latest video, okay? Their latest one they just posted, okay? And it's about dancing lights in the sky. And y'all look at it yourself and tell me if that's not a seraphim blowing out flames. I mean, you look at that. That's fire. That is fucking fire, because you can see it starts and then it stops, and then it starts and it starts to move from left to right. It's moving. That's a seraphim. That's a dragon up in the sky, just showing off, blowing off fire. Clearly, you can look at that and clearly, instantly see that. I saw that instant. I'm like, that's a seraphim. That's fire. That's not light. That's not, light can't be displaced like that. That is impossible. Because if that was the case, it would stay consistent. No, it stopped and started again. Stopped, started again, then started to dance. It's like, that's a dragon blowing fire, people. But, okay, sure. Let's use your illogical mind and say it's dancing lights. No, that was a dragon blowing fire. Okay? And that was caught during the day. And you can see the sun. But this dragon blowing fire is, it's a little further away from the sun. The sun is stationary in the sky, okay? Same size as the moon. So it's stationary. So it's not going to displace light like that. That is impossible. If that was the case, it would actually be light, not fire. But I saw that today, and that tickled me. Because the Seraphim, they showing themselves. Marcus at 42 dropped the thing earlier this morning. And the United States Navy declassified images caught in the night sky by the Navy and the Department of Defense did not deny the claims. They allowed it to come out. They got audio. And he's like, what is this thing? It's a fleet of them. Just flying in the sky. Just soaring against the wind. Against the wind. The wind is 120 miles an hour. They going against it. Not even trying. It's a fleet of them. So I saw that this morning. And then I see across this daily dose of seeing so-called dancing lights in the sky when that's clearly fire being blown out of a dragon's mouth. A seraphim. They showing themselves, y'all. The angels, the Seraph, the highest order of angels, they here. They are showing themselves. And what makes it where you know it's at the end, because the Department of Defense ain't denying it. If the government not denying it, they know it's no point in denying it now. Because they going to keep showing themselves. They going to keep doing their shenanigans vividly in public where everybody can see it. You can't come up with much more to try to cover it up. I mean, they're the seraphim. You can't hide them forever. And they clearly not trying to be hidden no more. They showing themselves. They didn't come out like, we about to play. And they playing. The seraphim are playing, y'all. They showing themselves. Fleets of them just flying in the night sky. The government not trying to cover it up. Because they know if they're not trying, this is where you need to know where you're at right now. In the here and now. If they are not trying to cover it up, they not trying to keep it hush-hush no more, they know they can't keep it hush-hush anymore. They can't. Because they already know these sightings are going to get more prevalent, more consistent, and way more dramatic. So they can't hide it anymore, okay? So they know their time is up. So they can't hide it anymore. I mean, they fleets of them flying against the wind in the night sky. And then you got dragons in the sky blowing flames. Just this showing off. I mean, clearly you can see that you can see the flames. He was showing off next to the sun. Where's this Atlas supposed to be at, y'all? They keep talking about Atlas is near the sun. It's near the sun. Well, according to that video, that flame, you know, showing off from that seraphim was right next to the sun. So, yeah, you can pretty much tell what side this seraphim is on. It's on ours. They're our guardians, okay? They are the highest orders of the angels. So, they showing off, y'all. So you know what time it is. They already know what time it is themselves. Their time is up. They done. Might as well go on, stick a fork in them, because they done. Because they about to be, how can I put it? They about to be well done. Extra crispy. But anyway, I had to bring that out, y'all. Tries Most High, I need you.